Oh, what a Sunday! Oh, what a Sunday! So, it was a pretty great week of football, and it was capped off on Monday with the Eagles losing. Yeah, the Eagles actually got lost number one on Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders in a very crazy game, and had a little bit of controversy because of a face mask call that wasn't called. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. I don't know how these referees missed the obvious penalties. They're just incompetent. But anyway, but Washington took down the Eagles, so that means on the 50th anniversary of that perfect season, the 72 Dolphins, the surviving members, get to pop the corks again. Seriously, is anyone going to join them on that short list? Remember, of course, the Patriots in 07, they almost did. Then that Tyree catch happened. But, yeah, so... And it makes things interesting on the top of the conference because the Vikings pulled off a big win in Buffalo. My goodness, that whole game was nuts. I watched that whole thing, and I watched it. Well, I said I watched the whole thing, but I was actually switching between whatever the football games I got, Red Zone, and the Canadian football game because it was the division finals on ESPN2. Yeah, it was crazy. So, when Minnesota was down 27-23, Kirk Cousins was stopped at 4th and goal, and that's it, they lost. Then I see Josh Allen trying to sneak out of his own goal line. He fumbles it, and Minnesota recovers. So, touchdown, they take the lead by 3. I'm like, what the oh boy. But, the Bills got the field goal range, tied it, forced overtime. Minnesota got the ball first, went pretty deep. They nearly got all the way, but they were stopped short and had to sell for 3. And that meant the Bills got the ball in overtime, which is kind of a foreign concept, because we all remember how that divisional playoff game ended last year. Chiefs had that. Chiefs got in field goal range in less than 15 seconds, forced overtime, and then they won the toss, got the ball, and that was it. But Josh Allen had his chance, and of course I'm a Packers fan, so I can kind of relate to seeing the Packers lose overtime games without Rodgers getting the ball. Though I still say the rule wasn't the problem. You need to play defense, but it does suck. But Josh Allen got the ball, and usually the Bills fans believe when Josh just had the ball in overtime, we have a shot. And it's hard to argue against that. It is. But Josh ended up throwing a pick. You notice I got my head turned. I got hockey on my TV. The Maple Leafs are playing the Penguins, and it's not going well for the Penguins right now. But staying on the NFL, Josh threw a bad interception in the end zone, and Vikings win. They're 8-1. Oh my goodness! You know, this really sickens every fiber of my green and gold being to say this, but it has to be said. The Vikings are dangerous this year. I know the Vikings' history. Okay, they're the biggest choke artists in the history of the National Football Conference. It dates back to 1970. Okay, I've seen them blow good starts in regular season. They've blown a 5-0 start and a 6-0 start. That was in 2003. I still to this day remember the Nate Poole catch that eliminated Minnesota from playoff contention the final week. But they are known to blow good starts, and when they do get in the playoffs, they're known to blow that too. They are the biggest choke artists in the history of the National Football Conference. But I don't think they're going to blow this season. No. There's something. Well, I was not saying there's something different. There is something different. They fired Zimmer after last year. That's the big change. This is not a team who tends to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory anymore. This team is finding ways to win. This team is finding ways to win. No matter what the circumstance, this team somehow finds ways to win. They had one loss, and that was something they couldn't do anything about. They were playing the Eagles. They were kind of strong. There was nothing the Vikings could do. Yeah, the Vikings are actually dangerous and capable. I honestly think, and again, this sickens me to say this, this is their division to lose. And it's true, because they're way ahead of the division. But however, I do bring good news. The losing streak is over. Run the Table 2022 is a go. What a game, huh? It didn't start off well. Dallas scored first, and then entering the fourth quarter, we were down by 2 touchdowns. But Rodgers, being the man that he is, and being the man that we all know, brought us back. 2 touchdown passes to Christian Watson. He actually had 3 to Christian Watson overall. And the game was tied. Went to overtime. Dallas did win the toss. And that's when Mike McCarthy kind of decided, when they were it was 4th and 3. It said 4th and 3. It said 4th and 4, but it was 4th and 3. They didn't really get that right. And they were kind of in Brett Maher range, but they decided to go for it, and the play was nowhere close to successful. So the Packers got the ball on downs, got the field goal range. They that pass to Lazard, got deeper because of the face mask. Now that was called because the face mask to Aaron Jones after his run, and Crosby made the chip shot, and that was it. I'm gonna be dead serious. I nearly burst into tears when we won that game because I had been frustrated for 5 weeks, and last week was, well, not a breaking point, but I wrote out my feelings on this team on Vocal. My story, Tyler. Aaron Rodgers deserves better. He could have had it years ago. That was my story, and I wrote it out. It was very therapeutic for me, and I'm glad I wrote it out, because if I didn't write that story, I would probably be festering and boiling and this, that, and the other. But I felt good, even though I was very down about the Packers. But that win improved us to 4-6, and as many Packer fans remember, that was our record 6 years ago. I think entering the Thanksgiving weekend, and that's when Rodgers made his famous "this team could run the table" speech. And we did. We won the final 6 in a row and actually made it to the NFC Championship that year. So, again, Run the Table 2022. It's underway, baby. And but yeah, it's an interesting week. I called it a great football Sunday because the Packers won, the Steelers won. That was great. I was happy the Steelers won, and they have a shot. I'm not giving up on the Steelers either. As the late great Yogi Berra said, and as Lenny Kravitz famously sang when I was a kid, it ain't over till it's over. However, it is over for the Raiders. My goodness. Well, they lost to the Colts, and that was Jeff Saturday's coaching debut, and we all have our feelings about that. We all like Jeff Saturday. I like Jeff Saturday. He played all those years for the Colts, and he was with the Packers for a cup of coffee. He's been an ESPN analyst for the last few years. Cool guy, very easy to like. And when he was hired as a coach, I was kind of like, wow, that's something. That's good for him, but the man had no coaching experience in the NFL, and that creates that furthers the problem. That furthers the problem because he got a job over experienced coaches, quite a few of them who look like me. But yeah, as I said, coach hiring practices, especially when it comes to people of color, have been quite problematic because a lot of black coaches aren't getting these chances. But Jeff Saturday got his chance. We go, well, there it is, and he did win though. It was against the Raiders, but a first win's a first win, no matter who it is. So congratulations to him. we can't downplay it because it's the Raiders and they're a mess. I still can't believe what a mess that team is. I seriously thought this team was going to win the division. I mean, they got Devontae Adams. I mean, yeah, they hired Josh McDaniels, but I thought the Devontae Adams signing would fix that. I mean, look what happened last year. All the nonsense that happened to it. I do mean a lot of nonsense, and they still somehow made the playoffs in the final week. They're not going to be anywhere close this year. They are 2-7. Only the Texans have a worse record than them, and it's not by much. And that's the thing. They hired McDaniels. That was a big mistake. McDaniels is a natural born fuck up. and they had a good thing with Bisaccia. I thought, well, Bisaccia's going to get the interim tag removed. They're going to keep him. I mean, look what the Raiders went. No, he ended up as our special teams coach. And speaking of special teams, the news broke. We got rid of Amari Rodgers, so the season keeps getting better for the Packers, thank God. But yeah, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. And Mark Davis is standing by him. Oh boy. Interesting. Next week, week 11, the Raiders face the Broncos. The Broncos, of course, are coming off a loss to Tennessee, and they got their own coach that they're sick and tired of already. It's Nathaniel Hackett versus Josh McDaniels. If this was WWE, and if this was actually, let me be more specific. If this was Vince McMahon's WWE, the loser will be fired. The loser of this game, you're fired. He could really say that, but yeah, I seriously think that has to happen. Whoever loses this upcoming game between the Raiders and Broncos, coach has to be axed. He's got to be gone. He's got to be gone. And Denver has the home field, so I don't know. I sense both fan bases literally rooting for their team to lose. I'm dead serious. It's not a tanking thing. They just want their coach out to get the step in. That's what it is. The Broncos fans are going to root for the Raiders. Raiders fans are going to root for the Broncos. It's a greater good situation. I sense that happening. What else? Oh yeah, of course, Tampa Bay. They seem to be getting back in it. They won again the first game, and it was the first game played in Germany. They beat the Red Hot Seahawks. Now that's back-to-back wins. They're 5-5, but they're in first place in a very mediocre NFC South. Should be interesting to see who wins that division. It could be the Bucs. They could get out of this, but who knows? But anyway, that's my recap of Week 10. It was a very insane week. Very insane week. We saw the Rams and Cards play each other, backup quarterbacks, and speaking of Rams, Cooper Kupp's going on the IR, and I can hear the sound of fantasy football owners screaming right now. I didn't scream, but I was like, oh no, because I do have Cooper Kupp on one of my teams. But yeah, that's a bummer. I think the Rams are pretty much screwed. But anyway, that's my recap of week numero 10, number 10. Or for the Germans, Zen. That's 10 in German. Thank you, Hogan's Heroes. But week 11 starts on Thursday Night Football in Lambeau Field. It's Thursday Night Packers host Derrick Henry, the Tennessee Titans. That should be pretty interesting. Like I said, Broncos, Raiders on Sunday. Losers should get fired. I'm dead serious. Sunday Night Football is Chiefs and Chargers. The Chargers on Sunday Football for the second straight week because of flex scheduling. It was supposed to be Bengals and Steelers, but that got pushed to regional coverage. And in Mexico City for Monday Night Football, Cards and Niners. So that's something to look forward to for Week 11. So that's my recap of Week 10. If you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe if you want more. My story on Vocal about Week 10 is in the description below, so check it out when you can. I'll be back soon this week to get you Canadian football fans ready for the Grey Cup on Sunday, and next Tuesday I'll recap Week 11 of this insane season. So stay tuned.